Here we are, Michael. Live in
Well,
living color. It's Mikey and Vinnie on a
let's start
Monday.
the
Yippee yay!
let's start the day by thanking the Washington Commanders and the Buffalo Bills for sticking with us and having confidence in our bet for them. We put our money where our mouth is, and we put our judgment football wise in full view of everyone in America, picking the Bills and the Commanders to advance to the Super Bowl.
And of course, today, who's going to the Super Bowl?
Apparently, there's a group called the Eagles. Who knew the Eagles were going to play? If I had known that, I would have bet differently.
Well,
Fly,
you and
Eagles, fly.
yeah, you and I are the epitome of bet with your head, not your heart. And we always bet with our heart, or we pick with our hearts. And no self-respecting New Yorker wants to see the Eagles win. And no, I mean, as far as the Buffalo Bills, I don't know what there. I guess Kansas City happened to. But I mean, if we
Well,
played a
you're
team for their third Super Bowl at home, you're probably pretty deep ditch to begin with.
the
To the
Kansas City
credit, they
Kansas
dug
City
them out of it.
Chiefs.
They could have won that game.
Kansas City Chiefs ran into the perfect team for them because in the last three drives the Bills did nothing. They stalled out in every one of them.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you're dealing with a team that's a dynasty. That's every bit as good as the 49ers were when they were in their groove in the 80s, or the Cowboys were, or, pick a team that was in
Yeah,
a groove over the past 25, 30 years.
they don't even get
Kansas
nervous. They
City
get
is every bit as good as them.
they've got the weapons, they've got the experience, they've got the calmness, they've got Andy Reid. How come a big
Yeah,
guard like that? A big guard like that is calling all the plays. Remember,
the only redeeming factor in the whole thing really is that Reed will go up healthy again, and that'll be and he'll get to beat him. And again, I always think there's a little extra, even though coaches and players will never really admit it. But there's always a little extra when you're going up against somebody who fired you, somebody who let you go, somebody who you come to terms with, right?
that's what the Eagles did. Who needs Andy Reid? Who needs this guy?
Yeah. You know, Jeffrey Lurie thought that there were better. I think it was Jeffrey Lurie that owned the team at the time. Thought there was better pickings out there, or maybe he just didn't like Andy Reid. Who knows?
Well, it took them a while to get the coach they needed, and maybe they didn't like Andy Reid. I can't imagine that because he's so funny in his commercials.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that's not that Andy. It's so funny because every time I look at him, man, I can't help think of Mike Holmgren. He
they,
just
they
not
look they
only
look
does he,
they, they look so much alike.
yeah. I mean, not only does he look like him, but he coaches like him. I mean, he used to have that same iness about him, and then they look so much alike that yeah. I mean, you can't help but think about it. And I just think that Kansas City has put together a team that just seems to be you know in every phase of the game uh, is better than any other team in the league.
And
I mean,
when
they're
it's,
better.
they know
They're
that they can get fourth and one. Apparently, the Buffalo Bills don't know if they can get fourth and one. There's a big doubt in their mind, and they called some pretty uninvented play. I'm about to say not the most inventive play calling on fourth and short.
yeah. It didn't even like they what they were doing all year. All year again. And, and listen, uh, the defense coordinator there is a guy that's been around a while, seen a few things. So not only is the Kansas City head coach good, but coaching staff is picked from some of the best teams. of the past 30 years. So you've got people there that know what they're doing, know how to defend a 4th and 1. Um, and listen, let's give some credit to Buffalo. I mean, they looked like they were dead in the water the first half of that game, and they came out in the second half and they came back to win to almost beating. They just didn't quite have enough in the tank, coaching more than anything else, to beat Kansas City in the end.
The structure of the offensive play calling that Andy can call from seems far in advance of what the Buffalo could call on, and it didn't show itself through so much through the season, except as in the postseason. They just didn't look like they had the plays. They didn't look like they had the. They needed another tight end. They needed another wide receiver. They don't have the powerful running back. They came up short on all those areas, and it was obvious in the fourth period that was the case.
And they weren't as deep. Um, I forget the two they lost at the beginning of the game, but it seemed that Mike Tomlin of the Steelers, he always has he always sets man up. Got to be as good, should be as good as the guy that got hurt, or the guy that's not. And while we know that that's not reality sometimes, for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think it is.
I think
I
it
think
is as well.
players that when somebody goes down, the person they put in is is um, is
Going to
equal
score.
to
Going to score that lead
at
rushing touchdown.
quarterback position.
Yeah.
But I don't know where you get somebody else like Mahomes.
No, he's just so damn resourceful.
Well, he sees the field a different way than most quarterbacks I've seen before.
And I know everyone thought, well, Buffalo's going to make a difference now because the NFL is going to start calling the game more fairly. None of this protecting the quarterback like we've seen through the season with Mahomes. But in reality, that wasn't the case. There wasn't any way to make it even. Mahomes is just a better quarterback by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, and I always hear the ref stuff, and I don't buy the ref stuff. ETAC calls and all that. Some of them, yeah, every once in a while you get one, but I don't think the referees sit there and intentionally try to make a game come out a certain way. Although I'm sure that in Buffalo this morning, that's probably the number one topic on sports radio up there is that the
We
referee or
we
these or
got
that
we
or the
got
other.
we got jobbed again.
Maybe you just ran into the best team of the 2020s. Maybe you ran into the best team.
Well,
Uh,
they didn't throw to Kelsey very often.
no,
They
I didn't
really
see him do much at all. I mean, I think there was one. I think they used him a couple of times. I think in the maybe end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, he had that one big play. But no, he wasn't a factor. I thought in the game that much,
you're right.
which probably pissed off the network because they couldn't go up to Taylor Swift like 7 times or 8 times.
She's a good fan.
You know what? It's a great love story. It's one of those great. It's like Joe. It's like what it must have been with Joe DiMaggio and
Maryland.
Marilyn Monroe, except that DiMaggio played in New York, so there was more intense scrutiny. Much more media. He plays in Kansas. I don't know how you could get much more media than Kelsey brothers get.
No, you can't. This is the media peak.
Yeah, hosting game shows. They're on every other commercial. I mean, between them and the Mannings, is there anybody else doing commercials? Oh, and
Deion Sanders.
what's the excuse me? What's the other? What's the guy who has the mobile phone company? Ryan.
The
Uh,
actor.
yeah, the actor. I mean, those three are doing all the commercials.
And everything else is a commercial for Paxlovid or some other medicine. I'm
Yeah,
dying over here. Here, take this. You'll be fine.
yeah. The people that sing about their diabetes, those are the ones I love.
Please. And they dance too. They're all out of breath.
Yeah,
They're on their way
yeah.
to the emergency
Nobody's singing
room.
like that and dancing like that. I'm telling you right now.
By the way, I got this hat from my loving sister Diana when she was in Rome, and I had to look up what SPQR means because I thought, well, send it in people of Rome, send it in people of Rome. And I said, well, what does the Q stand for? There's no people of Rome that have a Q in it. An acronym for the Latin phrase is Senatus Populusque Romanos, the Senate and the people of Rome. Senatus Populusque Romanos. And the Q is in Populusque, for populace.
I thought it was a bar.
You can find a bar with that name, but don't go in there.
There
Stay
was
out of that
one.
bar.
There's a bar in Tacoma that has a similar name. I've seen it. I passed it. I've actually been in there
What,
once or twice.
SPTC, the Senate and the people of Tacoma?
Yeah, down near, not on Ruston Way, but up a little bit from Ruston Way. I mean, I can't remember the name of it, but it has. When I first saw that hat, I thought that was the what
Thought I'd been in Tacoma
what
without
it was.
telling you.
Something that you had from Tacoma, but no, that's from Rome. What I get? As a matter of fact, I got it up here. Let me see if I can. I probably shouldn't have pulled it off, but I did. This is what I got from my sister when she went to Rome.
Oh, God.
A red crucifix, which I actually asked her for. I wanted the
On the real deal?
well, I wanted a crucifix, but many years ago, back when we were doing the show, uh, a good friend of mine went to Rome, and she brought me back what I thought was the all-time best um, religious store gift. And
A teacup with the Pope on it?
close, the Pope opener.
The Pope in her?
It's a bottle opener with the Pope's his head on it. Pope John Paul the 23rd, the popular Polish Pope, and that's been my go-to. I mean, I have somewhere sitting in my drawer. I keep it with me religiously in case I have to open a bottle.
You need the Pope's help.
You need the Pope to open a bottle. Every bottle of beer is blessed,
Oh, Holy Father, get this beer open over here.
and keep it with a head. But that's my all-time famous favorite, I should say, religious relic. And I remember, I don't know if other religions had this, but when I was a kid, we used to have in church, in St. Joan of Arc Church, we had the religion. And you could go into the religious store, which was in the back. We had two churches. We had an upper level and a lower level.
It's like the gift store, right?
And they had a gift store in there. And they had the rosary beads, and you could buy missals. See, Catholics don't use Bible so much as they use a missal.
Don't tell Donald Trump about that, okay?
Yeah, well,
Don't tell him about that.
yeah.
You'll put a tariff
Uh,
on
um, and we used to, and the big thing when you were a kid, I think the rosary beads were 15 cents.
it. Whoa.
So
A
you go
bargain
in
at
and
any
you buy
price.
different color rosary beads. That was or you bought. They had religious cards of all kinds. So you had to have a religious card as a for whoever your saint was, and mine is this, obviously Saint Vincent, who there's actually two Saint Vincents. One of the Saint Vincents is Saint Vincent Ferrer, which is a keeper of poor people, and the other is another Vincent, and he is the patron saint of wine.
So the Paul and the wine.
So he's the one of those. So I'm got the patron saint of sin for me.
Well, if you have to go to Rome to get the next reliquary for yourself, you know what road to take?
The Appian Way.
Any road. All roads lead to Rome.
All roads lead to Rome.
That's what I've been
Was
told.
that a Tony Curtis movie?
The only one he ever made.
Oh man. So yeah, the Super Bowl in New Orleans is now set.
And
Philadelphia, Kansas City.
I'm picking Kansas City. I'm through with playing with my heart.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to it's hard to tell. It's I mean I'm sure that every prognosticator will come out and have their take on it. You know, you obviously got to see who's not healthy. At first blush, you would take Kansas City, but I don't know. You know, Sirianni has a few tricks under his sleeve as well.
Well, you're right, but Kansas City's only going to stop one guy, Barkley. You stop Barkley, that's the end of the show.
Yeah, and of
The
course,
rest
my
of the tall
question
order.
is, what were the Giants thinking? I mean, Barkley's like a one-man show.
Well, the Giants are in the running for Shadur Sanders. I don't know if they're going to get him, but they're one of the three that he's talking to. I guess the Titans will take him number one.
Well, yeah, somehow it looks like he is successful with his sons and Colorado. I mean, maybe not as successful as he's wanted to be, but did you see his interview with Colbert the other night?
No, how is it?
It was good. It was
They,
good. He came on Dion, but he talked, one of the greatest thrills of his life has been to coach his sons.
of course. Well,
To
guessing
be
he's
in a
got a
position
talented
where he
family.
could he could coach his kids. Yeah, it's funny, and I think we talked this before. I never was a big fan of Deion Sanders. I just, for whatever reason, I just didn't
As a
like him
player,
that much.
right? I know.
And when we went down to the Super Bowl
In Miami.
in Miami, I got it for some reason. I hooked up with somebody that was a friend of his. And I was talking to him, and I can't remember exactly what the whole conversation was. It's so long ago. We had so many conversations. But I saw Dion do a couple of things charity wise down there, and really kind of looked and separated primetime from Dion, and I came to appreciate it. And I've kind of, it's one of the people that I used to one way about, and once I got to him or got to know what he was, not to know him personally, I changed my mind,
Yeah, I know.
And after watching an interview last night, I kind of got what I was picking up on him. What I what changed my mind. Just he seems to be and again I don't well you're only going by what you see on TV. I don't live next door to the guy, but he seems a good guy who you know knew that to make it and make it big in that world, he had to become more than he was. He had to leave a mark on the world to get. I mean, he could play football, but he wanted to do more than play football.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a star, and so
And he can play baseball.
yeah, played baseball obviously with the Yankees, and I forget was he with the Braves for a while.
Right,
Well,
the Braves. Yep.
so I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the guy.
Well, they love him in Boulder. My God, they just love him there.
Well, they should. Yeah, I mean, he's done a pretty decent job there.
And the kids will, that want to play football, want to play for him.
Yeah, and you're playing. I mean, you're playing from prime. You're playing for prime time, man.
Coach Prime.
Coach Prime. You're playing him, and it's got to be a thrill if you're a kid. It's got to be. I mean, think about his kids and what a thrill that's got to be for them to be coached by their dad, and for dad to rub off on him on the kids. We'll see what they got when they get to the NFL. If they have, but I because I remember, and again, I haven't followed Colorado religiously, but I saw one of his kids get pretty beat up in a game last year.
Shadur.
Yeah, he was.
He got sacked a lot.
Yeah, he was not mobile. He was getting pounded. Uh, so anyway, that'll be interesting to see. And of course, the day after the AFC and NFC championship games means one thing: 3 weeks to spring training.
That means if you have any pitchers and if you have a couple catchers, please tell them what day to be on time. Now the
We
Giants have a couple catchers, but we don't have any pitchers. So
well, didn't they add a pitcher?
yeah, the 40-year-old. Uh, I don't know. I'm not
Yeah, I
prepared
thought
this
they
week.
had it. I thought they added somebody. Um, whereas the Mariners have added
Nobody.
somebody. Um, so they're kind of faced right now, the Mariners, with. I mean, they have to come up with somebody with a bat. So they're either going to have to overpay for Pete Alonso.
Pete's going to stay a Met. I think it's going to take forever, but
Yeah,
I think
I think he is too. I think he's going to wind up taking the Mets deal. Um,
not the
but
last one, but
but
one to be made soon.
the other that people are upset up here about is that we just weren't in on Jurickson Profar,
I'm not
who
surprised.
signed the Braves for what looked to be a pretty big guy, was an all-star. Unless there's something that they don't that nobody's talking about him, why would you why would you have gone for this guy? I mean, he was an all-star. Was it last year?
Well, the Giants need Pete Alonso more than the Mets do, and they didn't make a. I thought they were going to make a substantive offer. If they have, it hasn't been in the news.
Yeah, I don't know that the yeah, I don't know what
He wants to take the subway to work.
well and I mean, I don't know, the rich get richer as he signs with the Braves. I mean, but it was interesting because I guess there's trouble in the Padres organization, so he wasn't going to sign back there. Maybe somebody offended him. Maybe somebody did something. So, but again, people up here upset because he didn't. The Mariners didn't even go. And I mean, here's a guy said, he's a high huge hitter. He's a 290. Has some years left on his role on his contract. Uh, was injured, I think. Well, a year before he was a rookie. So again, 85 ribbies, 158 games played.
That's most of them.
You couldn't. The Mariners couldn't somebody like that. I'm trying to see what his yeah. Again, Mariners could have used somebody like this, and at the price that he came at. And again, I think it was 3 days, 33. 3 years and 3 years, 40 million.
Well,
Which I hate to say it is a bargain these days in Major League Baseball.
that's what I was going to say. That's not much of a. That's not an indelible offer.
Yeah, to let him go to the Braves.
You remember all that rain LA was supposed to get? It was going to cause mudslides and everything.
Yeah,
Forget about it.
it was a light misting.
Nothing today.
Well, I get a blessing, right?
Well, we needed the rain. One of the three factors of our firestorm was high winds, dry brush, and no rain since last May. Now we can say, well, it rained just yesterday, but my God, it wasn't. In Seattle, you wouldn't call it a rain. San Francisco wouldn't call it a rain. New York wouldn't call that rain. Patrick Mahomes wouldn't call it rain.
What's the first rain that they'd seen in how long?
Since 250 days or more.
Well, maybe it was the right amount of rain, Michael. Maybe they just, maybe it's a blessing that they needed. They needed as much rain as they got, and they were spared the mudslides and the. I mean, I was reading stuff yesterday, looking at stuff yesterday, man, saying that the rain was going to come, and then all of the houses that were left were going to slide off into the streets and down the hill and out to
Well,
the Pacific Highway.
you're right. That
And
was the fear.
it didn't seem they did much of anything.
Well, it just didn't happen.
It was it looks like LA's the bullet, which is good.
Well, it's the shape of California. The part of California that sticks out the furthest into the Pacific Ocean, right above Santa Barbara, is called Point Concepcion, and nothing gets past it. Rain's coming. It's raining. It's raining. It's cold. It's a winter blast. Oh, Point Concepcion. Forget about it.
And that's where California takes that bend
Yep,
inward.
correct.
So how was uh, we didn't talk about the fires almost all last week, except for the one that started burning up there. The use fire, was it?
Yeah.
What's happening as far as the relief efforts down and people? Are people?
Well, they're in they're in motion. I haven't heard any complaints about people not being able to get help. Maybe not as fast as they wanted. Donald Trump came and was absolutely amazed at the size of the devastation. But he's so weird, Vinny. keeps talking about the spigots that they have in Northern California that are turned off. All they have to do is turn them on, and all this water will come to Southern California. It's like he thinks it's going to run downhill. And there are no spigots up there. You lived there as long as for many happy years. You're familiar with the area. We don't have hidden spigots that keep the water turned off for Southern California.
No,
Donald Trump believes we do. He's referred
there's
to
an
that many
aqueduct,
times.
and if you drive up I-5, you'll see that it's filled.
It's not turning. You can't turn it on or off.
Yeah, it's filled most all the time.
Well, Donald Trump's got this in his head that California has hidden spigots.
You know, you would think that the president of the United States would
Mm-hmm.
have people that would educate on this kind of stuff.
No. The other way
You know,
around, he educates them.
would say to him, "Sir,
Stop with the spigots
um,
already.
there's no spigots. You know, Iranian blowfish, whatever the fish is that they're trying to save up there. Um, that when you say things like that yourself look stupid.
You looked stupid before that, but now you made yourself look even more
Well, you've
stupid.
added to it,
Hmm.
and maybe just maybe you ought to just go and smile and shake some hands and promise all the help for the federal government that you can give them because after you leave, nobody's got on it. I mean,
And stop letting
Jimmy
Melania
Carter stood
talking
in the
about
South
piss on
Bronx.
earth. Stop letting your wife talk about piss on earth. It should be piss. There should be piss everywhere. Piss in all the countries. Piss on earth.
Well, it's.
Don't let her talk, okay? Don't let her say a word.
I mean, why she's smarter than he is.
And
And I mean, that's
self-assertive
not
should be
saying
bad
much,
enough.
but I mean, he says something and it just looks stupid. He just
Well,
makes himself look stupid.
if we had,
And
I feel sorry for the people in North Carolina who think that we have the spigots, we just won't use them.
yeah, I mean, that's another story. What's happening with those people? Uh, where's their relief?
They're still shooting shotguns at the FEMA people. Hi, FEMA, here to help you. Boom, boom, get them in the legs. We'll sell them back to Washington when we're done.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel I feel bad for anybody who's affected by a natural disaster, but when the people come to help you, and you at them,
That's
and
a
you
that's a uniquely North Carolina responsibility or something.
terrorize them, what do you expect? If somebody comes to help you, terrorize them. What do you think people are going to do? They don't pay those people enough to stick around. You want me to get out. But if you want your money,
That ain't
this is
gonna
the
work.
only way you're going to get it. Nobody's going to come down here and just hand you. We're the people that are coming down to hand you checks.
Right.
If you us away, nobody else is coming. We're not sending a bunch of Trump people down
Can't you send a
to
talk radio
hand out
host,
money.
AM
And
radio
his
talk host?
friends aren't coming down with money to give you because that's not how they work. Elon Musk is not going to show up with a bunch of Teslas and start handing them out to people.
Speaking of cars, did you see all the Volkswagen bus commercials in the playoff game?
Yeah,
They bought quite a for an item that can't be purchased at any price. They bought quite a bit of television.
yeah. Well, that's their hello car. That's what they're pushing. So they think by showing those commercials they'll get people into a Volkswagen showroom and they'll look at another car and say, well, I can't get that one, but maybe I get this one.
That's been the theory for getting you in the showroom for years, hasn't it? Just get them in the room.
Get them in the room, get them to the ship, and we'll sell them something.
Get
you
him to
know,
find. Get him to
and
finance and hurry up about it.
just keep those cars on the floor so people can look at it, and they'll figure it, and maybe we won't sell them an ID Buzz, but maybe we'll sell them an ID 4, because their other electric car, which is actually a pretty good car, or we'll sell them. We can put them in a car for 23,000.
Hmm. That's a good price.
Yeah, these days that is a good price for a car. So we'll put them in something that's a Volkswagen. Doesn't have to be uh, that particular car. So I can see why they're a company that's trying to excuse me recover from a strike they had in Germany and a couple of cars that weren't that good, and they're actually doing a pretty good job of it. Volkswagen and Audi are one of the companies that you can't seem to kill them.
The old Stuttgart boys.
Yeah, you can't seem to knock them down. I think they're from those, honestly.
Hmm?
Mercedes Benz in Stuttgart. I might be Wolfsburg. Yeah, I think it's Wolfsburg. I don't know now. I know they're in. They had New Pennsylvania. They used to make the Rabbit there. Remember the Volkswagen Rabbit?
I do.
That's a good little car. Except mine blew the engine on I-5 on the way up from L.A.
After the grapevine.
Yeah, it was way past the grapevine. We're coming back from the 1988 playoffs, National League Championship series, which I knew was going to be a bad series for me because that was the series that Darryl Sherry before the series when declared that he wanted to be a Dodger when just before they played Dodgers.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
That's
really
a bad
got a
look.
good look.
Yeah.
Oh my God, those were the days. So yeah, so we were driving back, Lorraine and I, as a matter of fact,
Really.
and the engine blew um, somewhere. What is that road that goes across? I forget 182, 167, like that. And somehow I nursed the engine to get the car home.
Really.
Somehow
They had you
got
just get allowed that.
I got the car. I couldn't do more than like 50 miles of it. But I got it back to San Francisco. I remember then parked it in front of my house and turned it off, and that was the last time.
It never started again.
Never started. My little red rabbit. I love that car. But boy, and to give it a lot of credit, got me home.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing because the engine was I think it was a hole in one of the pistons. I mean, it was really blown, but it got us home, and that was all that counted. I remember
Never to grab it around town again.
it pulled up. I pulled it up in front of the house. I lived on Baker Street at the time, and I pulled it up in front of the house, shut it off. I went down the next day to move it for alternate side of the street parking,
Ah,
and it was dead in the doornail, and that was it. Called the junkyard.
what does a doornail look like, by the way?
Oh,
Do you have one
it's
there?
it's funny because now you screw the doors in. You don't nail them in anymore. But I guess
Well, you're right about that.
yeah. I mean, you don't nail a door and the nails would pull out. But I don't know. It's a good expression. Deader than a doornail. I mean, as expressions go, it's a pretty good one.
It's a good one. It doesn't stand up to any scrutiny whatsoever because you have no idea what you're talking about. But still,
Well, I mean, if I had I would say it's one of those nails that like come taper down like this. But I guess yeah, this. The meaning is disputed, but most likely it referred to the cardinal nails hammered into the outer door of the wealthy. Mostly, people used wooden pegs, which were clinched on the inside of the door and therefore dead. That is, could not be used again.
okay.
So the rich people could use the nails again. The poor people had to use wooden pegs because they couldn't afford nails. So how do you like that?
Whoa.
A stud,
I didn't expect to be in an expose on class structure.
a doornail is a stud set in the door for strength or as an ornament. Let's see what a nail look like. Yeah, exactly what I said. It's got no head. It's tapered. You nail it into the door, and then you hit it over so it bends in the door, and that's a doornail.
Huh.
And I
Thank
guess
you,
if you
Vinny.
use a wood one, it's dead.
That's before my time.
You can't use it. Henceforth, deader than a doornail.
Dead, but even deader than that.
Can't get much deader than that. You bet there's actually a video of what does a doornail look like.
How to uh, how to maintain your doornail at home.
Yeah, I mean keep your doornails. I guess medieval construction.
So
There's like
Saint Joan of Arc would have recognized a doornail.
well, yeah, I guess she'd be yes. I guess she'd be
Or she,
one.
or she wasn't Saint Joan then. She was just Joan.
Right,
Joan
right.
the Fire. Joan the fiery
Well,
girl down the street.
well, I even have videos here on how to make a nail in the 18th century. How the simple nail changed history. Medieval throwing nails.
Is that a game?
I don't know, but I guess you could throw. And then I saw something where somebody shoots. Oh, it was in uh, um, what's the Danny Glover, Mel Gibson movies? Lethal Weapon, where shoots somebody with a nail gun.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, those.
Construction site fights. Fights that
Yeah, I
split
think
on the
those
street
kind
and
of.
end up in a construction site. They would use a nail gun.
Um, but that's the short history of nails. Well, before we go, Michael, we should talk about the CBS News.
What's the word? I don't
Well,
know.
it's going to look different tonight. You're going to have,
All right,
Nora O'Donnell signed off on Friday.
right. Adios.
Adios. See you later. I thought she did a good job.
Yeah.
I liked her. I always wondered, a friend of mine worked at CBS in New York, and I used to ask him, what does she smell like? I
And his
always
answer.
imagined she had like this, she just used the best perfume you could, she probably smelled good as she walked by. My own fantasy, but
Did he confirm that?
And he confirmed that she did smell good because he at times used to go in the voice booth after her. And you've worked in radio and television long enough, you know that sometimes people can leave a voice booth or a studio quite nasty.
Unavoidable, but true.
Yeah, but Nora smelled good. So I gave her a lot of credit for that.
Is she going to retire now? Or does she have a
No, she's
special
going to
assignment?
become well, you know what happens. They say they go like Scott Pelley. You know, he's a special assignment reporter.
Ain't going to see Scott around no more.
Well, he's on 60
60
Minutes,
minutes, yeah.
but you don't see him on a lot. And I guess have uh, John Di- John Dickerson,
He's
who
good.
used to host Face the Nation, and Maurice Dubois, who is banker of the CBS local New York for a long
Channel
time
for Channel 2.
on Channel 2. They're going to have Margaret Brennan, who hosts Face the Nation now, will be like a contributing person, probably a fill-in anchor. And they're bringing in a guy named Lonnie Quinn
To do Face
to
the
do
Nation?
weather.
Oh.
They're going to have a nightly, something that none of the other network newscasts have. A weather person.
Because the weather is so strange now.
Well, they go to him, for reports when an incident, when there's something happened.
Thunderstorm in
They deem
California
it important enough.
and a snowstorm in Louisiana.
Yeah. I mean, they important enough that they're gonna bring it to the evening news. Now, the morning shows have had it for a while. They used to have, today's show had Willard Scott for a million years, and then Al Roker.
Now, here's the weather in your area.
Yeah, and then you had now here's the weather in your area. And see the and ABC had Spencer Christian for a long time on Good Morning America. I don't know if they do it anymore, but CBS was notably absent from weather. So they're going to now bring it to the evening news. So that'll be happening tonight. And if they need help, there's going to be a lot of help available because CNN is going to lay off uh, 200 television jobs.
I won't miss them.
And they say they're gonna hire about the same number of people in digital roles.
In what roles?
So digital roles. So data scientists, engineers, digital writers.
So AI reporters.
So yeah, well, I mean, CNN is virtually, no pun intended, that the future of news is not going to be on TV. Is
It'll be
going to
online.
be on online, whether it be on Facebook, on Twitter, or X or whatever. That's where many people these days are getting, and that. So I guess the question becomes who's right and who's wrong. CBS is beefing up their online on television presence. They're trying to find. They're searching after an audience that seems to be dying. CNN and Time Warner is saying
We're going to help kill off the audience.
the future is digital. That we have to adjust ourselves to what's happening in what the consumers want, how they're consuming their
Well,
news.
whether it's live on TV or on video on your phone, people want to see the news. They want to see what happened. They want to see the crash. They want to see the fire. They want to see the parade.
Yeah, I would agree. But now with everybody with a phone, or most people, um, it would seem that CNN is right.
Well, you have
They,
to have somebody write that first paragraph.
yeah, that they are, yeah, they're looking at this and saying that this is going to be
The future.
what people get their news delivered on. That old days of going home and turning on the television, sitting down before dinner and watching news
Forget about it.
is gone. It's done. Forget it. You're exactly right. That it's leaving. So so it'll be. I think it'll be interesting to see who's right and who's wrong, or if the answer lies somewhere in the middle. Because I think that yeah, I think that we are. It kind of indicates a crossroads. Uh, uh, and of course, CNN is they're waning because the election's over. So they're losing. They're third in the ratings in the cable news behind Fox and behind MSNBC.
Well, their evening shows where they have six people yelling at each other are just insufferable. They just are so. If you nobody wants to be on edge at 9 o'clock at night. At 10 o'clock, I think I'll tune in to see how nervous I can get, how angst filled I can feel.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah, that's even coverage. We let everybody yell.
yeah they're trying to resurrect the Joe Pine Allen of just people yelling at each other on a panel.
Joe Pine would take off his leg and hit you with it.
Uh, and I don't know that that's what people are looking for these days. We have so many people that are in this non-confrontational stage that are afraid to see people to to yell at each other
Well,
that
that's right.
are they don't take that well. I mean, I don't want to see people yell at each other all the time. I don't mind a
Jane,
good argument every once in a while, but
you need Dan Aykroyd to say, Jane, you ignorant slut.
yeah, I don't think we're going to get that anymore. Hey, don't forget that that's coming up next week too, the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live.
Well, boy, they need something. That Timothy Chalamet or whatever his name is, that was an awful show.
Really, I actually thought he was pretty good.
Okay.
I liked it. Did you see it?
The skits.
But did you see the Dylan movie?
No. That I think is probably a hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, totally good. I don't know anybody that's seen it that hasn't said. People don't really know that much about Dylan or weren't around for Dylan like the movie. Yeah, the skits left something to be desired, but it's been one of those years for life when it hasn't been. Um, I just
They
don't
don't.
think it's that fun.
They don't have anybody saying this is interesting, but it's not funny. Can we get a funny one instead? No, we don't have anything funny. We got this. I got the kind, but that's all.
I didn't think that it was. I thought he was okay. I didn't think the show as a whole, and I don't think it's really been that funny all year. I don't think the new people have hit their strides. I don't think the old people that they've had have really hit their strides, and the ones that have hit their strides, they don't seem to use that.
Like the
I mean, you
Trump
don't
guy.
see Heidi Gum all that much. She hasn't developed uh, in the time that she's been there, like a Kate McKinnon had developed, or a Cecily Strong. or any of those females. The one woman that has uh, developed is I can't remember her name, but she is she's kind of developed. Swallow when it throws up, and so it'd be interesting to see. But the show, it's another show that's in transition.
Always.
It's always in transition, and the unfortunate thing is when they get a good cast,
Off they go.
want to leave and do movies.
Yeah.
They developed a ton of stars, but I don't know. I don't know. There just hasn't been. There's not that standout talent.
Yeah.
There's no Eddie Murphy. No Bill Murray. There's no. There's no. Um. I don't know. Go even Bill Hader. There's no Bill Hader. No. You know. No strong two or three personalities that carry the show. There's a ladling talent, but you're right. It hasn't been. It's not well written. Every once in a while, come up with a funny one.
Just not funny.
But the funniest shows are when some of the alumni come back. Like last year, the Eddie was it last year, the year before the Eddie Murphy show was hilarious. I don't know.
Otay.
He got it.
Otay.
Yeah, yeah. The show is funny. There's been a couple of good ones, but I don't. I don't know. It's not. It's not a stellar year for Saturday Night Live. The 50th year will not be one that everybody will jump around and go.
Well, indeed.
But
Well,
it'll be a I think celebration to see who comes back and who's I always like those kind of shows where they kind of go back and look
look at
at the show.
what was really wrong with Chevy Chase. What was wrong with that man?
Well, I guess he'll get invited back. That's that's what I see who's sitting with who and who's not talking to who. Is Bill Murray going to show up? I would think that those feuds are long healed, but I don't know. In Chevy's case, may
No.
not be.
Well, I'll see you for a wacky Wednesday, Vinny.
Mikey, it's been an hour.
I'm going with Ken now. Just like I always said, go with Kansas City. Don't ever bet against them.
Don't ever bet. No, do yourself a favor. Don't bet against Kansas City. I think we can get our Super Bowl pick. I don't think there's any ending in the way of them
Mahomes.
um, uh, getting their third Super Bowl, and something nobody else has done. Winning three, going to three, and winning three. That's a dynasty.
That's an Andy Reid built dynasty.
That's a dynasty right there. That's what you call a good run.
Andy drafted Mahomes, worked with him. Mahomes released the quarterback ahead of him and said, "No, we got a kid.
Somebody,
You're going with that kid? Yeah, we are.
yeah. We see something in him that maybe something. Well, his father was an athlete, so
Oh yeah.
yeah. So when you have he was a giant.
Yes.
I know he was a Mariner for a while. Was it also
Mostly the Mets.
Pat Mahomes? Yeah, I know he was with the Mets. I know he was with the Mariners. I think he was with Philly, if I'm not mistaken, or the Twins. I forget now.
The Twins. The Twins. You're right.
The Twins, yeah, the Twins. He was. I think he spent the majority of his career. All right, I will see you on the Lord's willing and the creek will rise.
Creek's not going to rise.
Yeah, you're lucky. Creek's not going to rise in L.A. All right,
You can
Mikey.
get
Peace,
an
love,
AI
gratitude.
get an AI creek. Get your own creek. You let it rise when you want it to.
Exactly, Mikey, and thank you all for listening as well. And we'll see you on Wednesday morning.
10-10. See you, win.
See ya.